and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined with Gregory, alumni and reunited with his fantastic film, The Heart of Texas. Let's take a look at the clip.
It's dark tonight in the heart of Texas. Jesus can't hear me out here. It's fading blue jeans and star-spangled dreams ain't worth all the blood spilled and tears. Just wanna roll as far as I reach down the line with my heart in my hands.
Gregory, it's been a long time, but you are an alumni of New Filmmakers LA from many moons ago, and award-winning because you won the award that night for our On Location. So, lovely to have you back.
It's great to be back.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for bringing The Heart of Texas. It is an incredible film. I am still thinking about it. For those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, so the film's about Janie Mae, who's an aspiring singer-songwriter who can't really catch a break. Finally gets the opportunity to perform in front of a country western hero of hers, so it's a life-changing audition. And on her way to that audition, she ends up hitting an undocumented worker with her car who refuses medical service or police intervention out of fear of being deported or worse. So that's the film in a nutshell.
It's an amazing story, and it's superbly well written and great acting as well. And oh goodness me, it's so sad because you think to yourself, hang on a minute, this is situations that happen all the time in the world, but particularly in this country. And on both perspectives, just fighting for your dreams and whatever that is. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this story?
Yeah, so I mean, living in Los Angeles for over a decade now, I realize how integral just the Latino community in general is to the fabric of the city and the culture. And I know that a lot of migrant workers are here, and they might be undocumented. And just knowing that there's an inequality there. And that's just something I've been aware of, and it really kind of came to light in a really kind of visceral way when I was in my neighborhood and I saw a car kind of flying down the road, almost hit a landscaper. I have no idea if he was documented or undocumented or what his situation was, but I could just imagine that if he wasn't, what kind of recourse he would have, and what kind of what he would want to do. Would he want to involve the police? Would he want to ask for medical assistance? And that was sort of just like the seed that kept just sitting with me, and I just felt that injustice and that concern and the fact that we live in a country where somebody would even have to think twice about seeking help for something. But it wasn't until I met the star of the film and co-writer, we reworked the script together, Lauren Knoll, that we found a way into the story that felt authentic to us. Kind of telling the story through an ambitious artist who, is down on her luck and is trying to escape this job and kind of reach for a future. And that sort of mirrors a lot of the story of the character's name is Jesus, played by, which kind of mirrors his journey as well.
I really love that you put these two characters together, and there's also a lot of parallels in this as well. It's abnormal that you have to pay for healthcare, but a whole nother level when it's someone who's afraid to go and receive healthcare because of what would happen to them or their family. And that's an abnormal response that we've got to change in this country. It's just disgusting, honestly. There's no other way to say it.
I mean, you see it recently with the collapse of the Key Bridge in Baltimore. There were some migrant workers that were rescued, and I know of at least one that was reported to refuse any medical help after being part of this bridge collapse. I have no idea what that person's story is, but I can imagine that it was something similar. And when we were actually shooting in Waco, there were some violent incidents where a bunch of immigrants were waiting outside of a processing center, a government processing center, and somebody intentionally drove through the line of people waiting outside and killed some people. And so you just, like, you don't want to be right about this stuff. You don't want this to be an issue that's so present and it keeps happening. But, you know, we were very careful too when we made the film to really solicit stories and perspectives from people who have this lived experience. We brought on a cultural consultant as a producer who is a first generation, you know, Mexican American. And she was able to really say, like, this is what would happen, this isn't what would happen, and yeah, this is a very present and problematic thing that is happening now. And so again, it was making sure that we told the story through a lens that was authentic to us, you know, like this ambitious artist, but that we were being really, really true and honest to the lived experience of the people who might have this fear.
And it was, you know, it was an interesting parallel. And I really do love the way you set up the story, because we're actually, initially, we're going to story all thinking about, you know, your lead character who did such a fantastic job, great, beautiful voice, everything, like, you know, and you really want her to succeed, right? Because, you know, lots of people calm down their luck or want to give up their dreams. And so you're rooting for her and you want her to, you know, to win this competition and experience this. But then at the same time, you know that she's got a good heart and she would want to actually help this person. So there was this horrible dilemma, and that scene in the car was just, I mean, it was, I couldn't breathe. It was incredibly performed as well. How do you work as a director? Firstly, how do you bring these amazing actors together? Because I was just in this world you created for us. And secondly, there's a lot of intense and high stakes in this. How do you work as a director with this film?
Yeah, I mean, first we'll talk about casting and working with actors. You know, I really feel like you can't make the movie until you have the right people. And, you know, I had written this script, an initial draft of it, and I was at a film festival. And this is just a huge endorsement for, if you make films, submit them to a festival, because you never know where it's going to take you and who you're going to meet. So we actually met at what was called Deep in the Heart, now it's Waco Indie. In Texas, and I'd seen her film, and we got to talking, and I realized, hey, this person is a fantastic filmmaker in her own right, a great writer, and she's been acting her entire life. And so that was the beginning of that partnership. And then when we went into casting, I really let her, or not let her, she took the lead in casting and did an incredible job and found Carlos, who plays Jesus. And really, really put those two pieces together. And like, once we had that, we knew that we could make the movie. As far as working as a director, it's really hiring, you probably have heard this before, but it's like hiring the best people you know and letting them do their job. So like my DP, Brent Johnson, I brought him on because I trusted him fully, and we designed, you know, like, this is the idea, this is what I want to do. So there's like 3 acts in the film. The first one is all sort of on rails on the Steadicam, and we're sort of following her. She's leading us.
Yeah, that was really nice to watch on the big screen.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then in the second sort of act in the car, everything is handheld, right? And we're really sort of chaotic. And then at the end, we're back on those rails. We're back on the Steadicam, but she is now pushing the camera backwards. We have no idea sort of where she's going, right? And she's...
That's so clever you did that. I'm realizing you did that to me. You manipulated the audience.
So that was the design. And so it was like, talk about what you want, talk with your actors about what you want, what the intention is, what level of intensity, what you're going for, you know, do all that work ahead of time so that when you get on the set on the day, you can just let it rip. And I'm a huge fan of improvisation. I'm a huge fan of happy accidents. And so, you know, as the Steadicam is going around and we kind of whip and catch something, it's like, no, let's do that. Or something happens in the performance that's way off script, but it feels emotionally real. So let's lean into that. And so, yeah, like kind of laying the groundwork and then having people play within that zone is where I think those authentic moments really come from.
I think also, obviously, it's set in Texas in this case, right? But I think this is a kind of a United States conversation problem as such. But living in LA, you've got a lot of people dreaming here, and dreaming whether to have a life here or dreaming whether to have, you know, their career in the arts develop as well, whatever it may be. And so you really see these parallels every day. And I often think about just the people that work in amongst us that may be in fear of being caught as an undocumented worker or family. And, you know, in this case, we're also surrounded a lot of broken dreams and dreamers. And I just love how these stories like collided, but it was a very hard watch. And I'm just curious in the way that obviously the story articulated, what did you want your audience to take from your film?
I think first and foremost, wanted to start a conversation. Right? Who's right here? Who's wrong here? You know, what is? How do you feel about that fear? You know, what is your take on the humanity of the situation? I think by the end of the film, it's left with an open ending. You have no idea what happens to either of these characters. You really don't know their fate. But what you do know is that because they have collided, you know, in this way, both of their lives will forever be changed. But because of the privilege of one specific character, she might be more okay, right? Yeah. And so just sort of questioning, going back to your idea of like the dreams, it's like we're all working towards something. We're all people. I mean, at the beginning of the film, these two characters literally have similar jobs. They work at the same place, but they end up in a very different place. You know, all he wants is to have this opportunity to make money. All she wants to do is get away from that for something better.
I love that parallel because, you know, I think as well, like, I think it's also a really important conversation. Like, you know, I'm sure he had, you know, Carlos, who played the character, I'm sure he had so many dreams that he wants to have, but I think people fail to realize, like, his dreams are restricted. He's trying to be the dream for his family and provide and create a better life, but like, you also realize that I'm sure he's got much wider dreams, but he knows that it's just the parallels of the privilege and then, you know, her trying to get to her dreams, but she's got so much more in lots of ways, and this gentleman's only got, like, he can only go so far. And I think that was a really good context to, like, put in there as well, which I'm sure was intentional.
Yeah, and I think it's all about that perspective, right? Yeah. Who do you connect with? Who are you? How are you seeing this story? Through what perspective? Does it change your perspective? How do you feel about these characters? Is she a villain, right? She does mess up, but she does want to do the right thing, right? And it is really interesting because you are rooting for her, because I think in America, especially in Los Angeles, we have this like hustle culture, this, you know, if you dream big and you go for it, you know, don't let anything stop you. But that's not also the most healthy thing, you know, and you can see that it takes a toll on her by the end. Just that sort of like, I've got to, you know, make this work. And you do sort of lose maybe a little bit of your humanity in that approach, you know. So it's all kind of swirling in there. And so I think I really, if anything, I just want people to start a conversation. And if you disagree with my portrayal or you have a problem with the story, I think that's just as important as if you liked it and responded to it.
Yeah, and I think where you left us in the end, I was still recovering for a while, actually. It was very, very powerful the way you delivered the ended in so many ways, and you can't watch your film without going away and being altered by what you've just seen if you've you know, not seen this before, obviously. What is next for you?
So we're putting together a feature version of this, The Heart of Texas. I think there's a lot more to say. There's a lot more to explore. I think it's a big idea, but I think we really want to tell that whole story. Amazing. I'm also adapting a book called Free Nancy Esting, which was written by a local LA author named Fred Bashid. We're making that into a feature in the fall, and then you know, just out there always making commercials and music videos and staying busy.
Well, it's so nice to see return, and, you know, goodness me, always part of our New Filmmakers LA family. But, you know, I'm sure in those 10 or so years that, you know, since you won the award here with us, like, what have you, like, as an artist, like, do you have any kind of advice that you've learned in that time or experience? Like, what do you go by? What keeps you driven every day as an artist?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get lost in the what should I be doing? If I make this, that'll get me to the next level, right? I really want to be doing X, Y, and Z. And I think the thing that I've learned and I've been taught by, you know, the universe over and over and over again, which is just make the stuff that you truly want to make. It doesn't matter where you earn your money. It doesn't matter where you live, what kind of equipment you have. If you're making true stuff that you believe in, at the very least, you're gonna have a great time making something, and you're gonna learn something about the crew and yourself, and then you're gonna present something that people will respond to. And every single time that I put away the need to get to the next level or make something that's gonna impress somebody, and I just said, this is the thing I wanna do, this is the thing I wanna make, that's always inevitably been the thing that's opened doors, that's invited conversations, because I think people can tell, you know, like, hey, that was really competently done, but where are you in that story? Versus, wow, I can tell you're really passionate, and this came from your mind and your voice, And so I would say, like, put all the noise aside and just think about, hey, if this is the only thing I'm going to make, what do I want it to be?
Ooh, I love that. I think that's really important because it really makes you focus in on getting to the highest possible place you can with that project. But, well, I'm looking forward to the next 10 years of your projects. Don't leave it so long, though, okay? We missed you. But thank you for being here, Gregory, and thank you very much for the heart attack.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.